All right. Again, happy Tuesday, not Thursday yet. Wishful thinking. Happy Tuesday. All right. So we're going to talk about angle-angle similarities. So angle-angle similarity is one way for us to show or to prove that two triangles are similar. Okay. For us to show that two triangles are exactly the same, except one is just a blow-up version or a shrink-down version of the other. Okay. So what does angle-angle similarity mean? Now, this definition, somebody called me out on it this morning, so we're going to change it a little bit, because it says if two corresponding angles, so that just means two. So if I look at this picture right here, that's one and that's two. But that's not what it means. That's not what it means. It means if two pairs of corresponding angles are congruent, then the triangles are similar. Okay, so I want to add that, two pairs of corresponding angles, because this was a little ambiguous and some kids were like, no, mister, hold on. I thought just two. That's four. If you look here, mister, that's four. Those two and then those two. Okay, two pairs, right? This is a pair that matches of corresponding, and this is a pair that matches. Okay, so that's what that means. Okay, so angle-angle similarity is if two pairs of corresponding angles are congruent, then the triangles are similar. Okay, I'll show you why in a second. There's a big reason why. Okay, so let's look at this example. So get in the habit again of using your colors, so that way you know, because you need to know what parts match with what parts. If I'm looking at these two triangles, sometimes one is twisted or spun the other way and you can't tell which matches with which, so use your colors. So it's asking, determine if the examples below are similar by AA similarity. If yes, write the similarity statement. So here we go. So if we look here, we can see that angle A is 75 degrees and angle D is 75 degrees. That's one pair. We can also see that angle C is 31 degrees and angle F is 31 degrees. That's another pair. So guess what? I have two pairs of corresponding of matching angles that are equal. So guess what I can say? Yes, these triangles are similar. Okay, so the question is why, mister? Why? Why are they similar? Well, if we look into, want to prove why this works, does anyone remember what the three angles of any triangle add up to? What do the three angles of any triangle add up to? Hello? This thing on? Hello? When we add the three angles of any triangle, we always get, man, if we were live in class, you'd all be yelling it out right now, and I'd be so proud of you. We always get, when we add the three angles of a triangle, we always get, somebody answer in the chat. Come on, guys. Uh, 180. But what about students? Any students know that? Okay, it's 180 degrees. Whenever you add the three angles of any triangle, thank you, I appreciate it, it always adds up to 180. So that means this plus this equals 180. So that means 75 plus 31 plus the measure of angle B equals 180. Or 106 plus the measure of angle B equals 180. Or if I subtract 106, that means the measure of angle B is 74. Right? And that makes sense that this is also 74 degrees, because don't these three have to add up to 180? And these two are exactly the same as these two. So they also need a 74. So that means this third angle, when you know two pairs of angles are equal, that means the third angle is automatically equal, because they all add up to 180. And so now, since I color-coded it, they asked me to write a similarity statement. It says right here to write a similarity statement. That means I need to write a statement that tells me which triangles are similar. Triangle blah, blah, blah is similar to triangle blah, blah, blah. But I can't just say you can't just put it in any old order. You always have to put it in the same order. The first letters have to match or be the corresponding parts. The second letter have to match, and the third letter has to match. So I just do it by color. So I'm going to go pink, orange, green. Triangle pink, orange, green is congruent to triangle. Is similar to triangle pink, orange, green. That's so much easier, right? And then just put in the letters. A, B, C. Pink, orange, green over here is D, E, F. There you go. And that is a proper similarity statement. This is telling you which triangles are similar, and the order matters. A matches with D, right? B matches with E, and C matches with F. You got to put them in the same order. That's a proper similarity statement. So I'll give you a minute to copy that. And then we're going to do a more complicated problem. Not too more complicated, but we're going to do a little more complicated problem. Okay, so let's look at this second example. Let's look at this second example. So if we look at this second example, there are no measurements. If we look here, we had 75 and 31, 75 and 31 in both triangles. Over here, there's nothing labeled. There's no numbers. So can we show that these triangles are congruent? Well, they did mark something. They did mark something. If we look here, they marked Y and V with that little arc. And remember, that little arc means that those angles are congruent. So they did give us one, but that's only one pair. We need another pair. Can anyone see anywhere here where we can see an angle would be congruent to another? An angle from one triangle would be congruent to an angle from another triangle. Can you see it? Is it possible? Hello? Anybody? X. What do you mean by X? Someone in the chat said X. What do you mean? Because X can mean anything. X can be this angle right here. X can be this angle right here. X can be this angle right here. Right? That point X doesn't define a specific angle. So what are you talking about? Be specific. Person in the chat who said X. You're on the right track. The person that said X, you're on the right track, but just tell me what you mean by that. Be more specific. Tell me, maybe this person's typing. Maybe someone else can see that. So this person's right when they say X. X, so something right here is happening. Something right here is happening. What's happening? Hello. Come on, guys. Come on. You got this. Come on. Just, you got to think. Come on. Don't lose this. Don't lose this. This is the first real day of our quarter, and I'm getting no answers from anyone. Look at this area right here. Do you see any angles here? Thank you, Ms. Torres. Yes, you're correct, but I want to see if anyone remembers. Come on, students. Hello, are you even there? Hello, students. Are you even there? X separates the two. Okay, what do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, yes. X, what do you mean by X? You're so close, guys. You just got to tell me the inside of the triangle. So they're saying the inside of the triangle at the X point. Okay, so these angles right here. So you guys know you can say angle WXV, right? That's what that angle is. And you can say angle YXZ. Right? So that's what you're saying. So someone just said inside each triangle at the X point. So that means here and here. So what are you saying about this angle and this angle? Okay, you're right. What are you saying about this angle and this angle? Come on, guys. What are those angles? Those angles are They're vertical angles. Very good. Yeah. Oh, we got it. Okay. And what do we know about vertical angles? So what they're vertical angles? There has to be something that's true that helps us with this. What do we know about vertical angles? They're congruent. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. So that means this angle right here and this angle right here are congruent because they are vertical angles. These are vertical angles. And vertical angles are just angles that are across from each other when we have two lines crossing. So vertical angles are just angles that are across from each other when you have two intersecting lines. And we know vertical angles are always congruent. Very good. So now we have this angle congruent to that angle. And so if we have two pairs of congruent angles, guess what we can say? These two triangles are similar. So we can say, yes, these two triangles are similar. And how do we know? A similarity. They're similar because of a similarity. And we know if those two angles are congruent, then these two angles are congruent. And so now we can write our similarity statement. We can say triangle blah, blah, blah is similar to triangle blah, blah, blah. Well, let's go with the colors. Let's start. And remember, this is the large and this is the small. It's up to you. You can say it in any order you want because it doesn't tell you which order. Okay, so let's say the large first. And let's go by colors. Again, let's go orange, green, pink. Orange, green, pink. So those of you that are like, Mr., I don't know what letters match with which letters, then go by colors. And then you still have to fill in the letters. You can't just give me colors. If you're doing this on a quiz or something, you can't just give me colors. That's just for those of you who can't follow along what matches with what. Follow the colors. So in the large one, the colors are orange, W, green, V, pink, X, is similar to triangle orange, Z, green, Y, and pink, Z. Okay. Without color, it looks like this. Wait, ZY, I did this wrong. Sorry about that. Thank you. Yes, someone caught it. That's not another Z. That's an X. Thank you. And that's an X. There you go. Now you can use the colors, but make sure you write in the letters too. So there you go. So we found out that these two triangles are similar. And we found out they're similar because we found two pairs of corresponding angles that are congruent. So they're similar by a similarity. And then now that we know which angles match with which angles, we can give our similarity statement. This is important. A correct similarity statement because W and Z are corresponding and they're congruent. V and Y are corresponding and X are corresponding. Okay. Now here's that second part. Here's that second part to maintaining that A. I just went over two problems explaining angle similarity. If you, for any reason, are confused and last quarter or the other quarters, you would stay quiet when that happened before. You should not do that now because look what happened, right? If you want to stay with an A or a B, that's what you have to do also, right? What are the three things? I've been telling you since day one in this class, the three things you need to do to be successful in this class and be successful in almost anything you do. First thing is try. Second thing is ask questions. Third thing is learn from your mistakes. You do those three things in anything in life, 99.9% of the time, you're going to be successful. Yeah, there's some bad luck that happens, so that's that 0.1%. Once in a while that does. But for the most part, and some of you are lacking on one of those three things, or some of you are lacking in all three things, the try, the ask questions, and the learn from your mistakes. All right. Are there any questions? Because I'm going to have you do a problem now. I'm going to have you get what I just taught you, and you're going to do a problem. So let's go down here to a similarity, and let's look at number 1. But before we do that, hold on. Before we do that, I have a question. Do you remember? Do I remember what, mister? Do you remember what that means? When I draw two lines like that and I put arrows like that. Do you remember what that means? Yes, these are parallel lines. And do you remember what this is? Right? These are parallel lines. And this is a, oh my God, I'm sorry. This is a, that's a transversal, right? So we have two parallel lines in a transversal. And remember, this is what I want you to remember. When you have two parallel lines in a transversal, right? You gotta go back. You gotta go back and right? Oh, okay. I remember now, right? Right. Have a little flashback. Dust off the cobwebs of your brain. And remember that corresponding angles are congruent, right? The matching angles, these four and these four, right? Remember we were looking at these four angles and these four angles, and the ones that are corresponding in the same spot, corresponding just means in the same spot, are congruent, right? You're going to need to know that for what we're doing. You're also going to need to remember that alternate interior angles are congruent. These angles that are on the opposite sides but on the inside are also congruent. Those are the most common ones you're going to do, corresponding and alternate interior. Okay, you're going to have to remember that. Okay. Oh, I have a question. Ooh, great question. Somebody has a question about this up here. Mister, how do you know when they are vertical angles? Vertical angles are just angles that are across from each other, right? If you have two intersecting lines, so if I have any lines that are intersecting, so right here, if I have two intersecting lines, there's a line, there's a line. Okay. Whenever you have two intersecting lines, the angles across from each other are always equal. The angles across from each other are always equal. That's how you know. So whenever you have two intersecting lines, the angles across from each other are called vertical angles, and they're always equal. Okay, great question, great question. All right, you're going to need to know that, and you're going to need to know a little bit of this to do number one. So I'm going to give you 4 minutes to tell me. Oh, always look at the instructions. Determine whether the triangles are similar by angle-angle similarity. If yes, write a similarity statement. So do the same thing we did up here. Tell me yes or no, and if the answer is yes, give me a similarity statement, a statement like this. Okay, telling me which triangles are similar. So I'll give you 4 minutes to do that. All right, something's happening to the timer. Okay, 2, 1, 0. I don't know, that happens when I record. The timer gets all frozen and stuff. Okay, so some of you are telling me in the chat, Mister, I see the vertical angle. I see the vertical angle, and that's great, but I don't see the other one, Mister. Okay. That's what I'm here for. So some of you are saying, Mister, I see angle CED, that's this one right here, and I see angle FEG right here. I see that they're across from each other, just like you explained, right? Here's two intersecting lines. These angles are across from each other. So that means this angle and this angle are congruent. And that's right. This angle and this angle are congruent. But then some of you said, Mister, I can't see the other angle. I can't see the other angle. Well, what does this mean? What did we just say that those arrows mean? Means they are parallel. Good job. Means CD and FG are parallel. So these are parallel lines. So if these are parallel and that's a transversal, right? Those are parallel and this is a transversal, then we can say this angle and this angle are opposite interior, alternate interior, and alternate interior angles are congruent. So we can say this angle are congruent because of alternate interior angles. So we can say, so we can put little notes right here. We can say, so the first thing we can say is angle CED is congruent to angle FEG, and why? Right? We can't just say things. You always, the most important thing is you can't just say things. Tell me why. Right? You got to tell me why. And we can say that because they're vertical angles. Right? And then we can also say that angle D, now we can say angle D because it's very clear where angle D is, or we can say CDE. We can also say angle D and angle F are congruent. So angle D is congruent to angle F because of alternate interior angles. And the reason we can say alternate interior angles because we know that this line and this line are parallel, and that's a transversal. So these are alternate interior. So alternate interior are congruent. So now, if we know those two pairs of angles are congruent, then we also know then the third one has to be congruent because they all add up to 180. And so now we can say, yes, they are similar. The triangles are similar. And we can celebrate. But then we got to do one last thing. We have to write a similarity statement. So that means triangle blah, blah, blah is similar to triangle blah, blah, blah. And if you don't know where to start, work with the colors. Okay, what three colors are in each triangle? Orange, green, pink. So this use orange, green, pink to say the first triangle, and then say orange, green, pink to say the second triangle, and then fill in the letters for the first one. And if you want to do small first, that's fine. And large second, doesn't matter which one, you get to choose. So I'm going to do small first. So that's CED is similar to triangle GEF. And that means that C and G match, and that makes sense. C and G do match. That means E and E match. Well, duh. They're back in the center. That's the same one. And then D and F match. All right. Does everyone understand that? Is there anything where you're confused? We went over 3 different problems, but dealing with the same kind of problem. Angle similarity. Any questions? Now's the time to ask. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue. The warm-up tomorrow is going to be one of these problems. Then tomorrow we'll talk about SSS, similarity, and SAS similarity. Okay, and then we'll start our classwork. Okay, and then we will continue the classwork on Thursday. And the classwork and homework are due on Thursday. Now, if I were you, I would start the homework tonight. Maybe you can do a couple of problems. Look for the angle similarity ones. And then do a few more problems tomorrow. That way on Thursday, you only have a few problems to finish the homework. Okay? And again, if you want to keep your A, there's only 2 assignments this week. The classwork we're going to start tomorrow, and the homework that's already on Schoology that you can start. You probably won't be able to finish because we haven't talked about the other 2, but you can start. And if you do those assignments, you keep your A. Okay? It's that simple. Every day ask yourself, what do I have to do today to keep my A? All right? All right, guys, if there's no other questions, then that's it for the day. So you can start the homework tonight. You won't be able to finish it because we haven't done SSS and SAS similarity, but we'll do that tomorrow. And everyone take care and have a great day. Ms. Torres, Ms. Preciado, Ms. Rivas, thank you again for your help.